Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're heading to a world locked in a permanent ice age, a planet its people just call winter. We're going to dive into Ursula K. Le Guin's masterpiece, The Left Hand of Darkness, a novel that really isn't just about what it means to be an alien, it's about what it means to be human.
So let's just start with the novel's very first lines. Our narrator, Genli I, tells us right off the bat, "I'll make my report as if I told a story, because truth itself is a matter of the imagination." And you know what? That one idea is the key to this entire book. It tells us that facts aren't these solid, fixed things. There's something you have to feel your way towards, in the dark.
Okay, so who's our guy? Our story follows Genli Li. He's a lone human envoy, sent to this planet that's just frozen. The people there don't call it by its official name, Gethen. To them, it's just winter. And Li? He's the first human ever to set foot there. He's a total, complete alien in a world shaped by brutal cold and a culture that's even harder to figure out.
Now, AI isn't some conqueror showing up with an army. He represents something called the Ecumen, and you can think of the Ecumen less like a galactic empire and more like a giant, peaceful, interstellar club, a coalition of worlds focused on sharing ideas and trading goods. His mission sounds simple, but it's absolutely monumental. Convince the people of Winter to join.
So his main contact on the ground is this powerful, incredibly mysterious figure named Estravain, who's basically the prime minister. But here's the problem. AI just cannot figure this guy out. Estravain is secretive, his motives are a total black box, and AI is just spinning his wheels trying to decide, is he a friend or a foe? And that confusion, right from the start, basically grinds his whole mission to a halt. But here's the thing. Ain's confusion, it isn't just about tricky politics or a clash of personalities. His inability to read Estravain, to read anybody on this planet, comes down to a fundamental biological reality of Gethen, something totally, completely outside of anything we've ever experienced as humans.
Okay, get ready for this. The people of Gethen, they're ambisexual. What does that mean? Well, for most of the month, they're androgynous, neither male nor female. But then, for a few days, they enter this fertile phase called Kemer, and during that time, they can become either male or female. And this one single biological fact, it shapes everything. Their whole society, from families to politics, everything. And this wild biological difference makes I start looking back at his own species, at us. He realizes, wait a minute, these people don't really have war, not like we do anyway. And he's forced to ask this huge question, is humanity's constant organized aggression tied to our fixed genders? Is war, at its root, just a masculine displacement activity, as he puts it? On a planet with no permanent men, that whole impulse just doesn't seem to be there.
And if being on a planet of ambisexual people wasn't hard enough to navigate, A keeps tripping over this cultural minefield called Shifgrithor. It's this super complex, unspoken code of honor and saving face. And poor A, with his direct human way of talking, breaks the rules constantly. Every time he asks a straight question, it's a huge insult. It's not just bad manners, it's a fundamental misunderstanding that leaves him feeling paranoid and completely unable to build any trust.
So, this already complicated world is split between two major rival nations. And guess where AI's mission to unite the planet lands? Yep, right in the middle of their dangerous power struggle. On one side, you've got Karhide. Think feudal monarchy, full of shadows, plots, and ruled by a paranoid king. Here, that honor code, Shifgrithor, is the name of the game. Then, you have its rival, Orgarain. It's the total opposite. A slick, modern-looking bureaucracy that's all about efficiency and logic. But, and it's a big but, under that calm surface, there's a kind of control that's way more chilling.
So A decides to bet on Karhide first. And it's a complete disaster. The king, who is just riddled with paranoia, flat out rejects the Eucumen's offer. And then, to make things worse, he calls Estravain a traitor for even supporting A and banishes him. Just like that. The one person who might have helped him is gone, and A is left totally alone.
So, with everything in Karhide a total mess, A does the only thing he can. He flees to the other nation, Orgarain. He's thinking, okay, these guys are logical. They're bureaucrats. Surely they'll get it. They'll understand the value of trade and knowledge. He's basically hoping to find reason where all he found before was fear.
But Orgarain isn't the rational, safe haven he was hoping for. Oh no, what he finds there is a betrayal that's colder, more calculated, and way more terrifying. And this is where the story takes a hard turn, leading into its most absolutely crucial part.
The leaders in Orgwen, they play along.
They pretend to be interested, but the whole thing is a setup. AI is arrested, drugged, interrogated, and then he's sent to a place called Pulafin Farm. They call it a voluntary farm, but it's really a secret death camp, where they just work prisoners until they drop dead from exhaustion. So AI is just wasting away. He's about to die. And then, out of nowhere, someone comes to rescue him. And it's the absolute last person he ever expected to see again, Estrevan, this disgraced exiled Estrevan who has risked everything to come and save the very same alien he couldn't help before. So, what's the escape plan? Their only shot at survival is, well, it's completely insane. They're going to make a desperate 800-mile trek across the Gobrin ice sheet, a vast, deadly, uncharted glacier, to try and get back to Karhide.
And for 81 brutal days, that's what they do. They pulled a sledge across a frozen hellscape. And in that shared struggle, in that absolute cold, all of A's prejudice and suspicion just melts away. He finally stops seeing Estrevan as this confusing alien politician, or a he or a she. He just sees a person. And out of that, trust is born, and then a deep, profound friendship. This journey across the ice, it really is the heart of the entire novel. It changes Genli to his very core, and it sets up the story's tragic, but ultimately triumphant ending. So they make it. They're back in Karhide, and Estrevan pulls out this little radio he's had the whole time. With it, Eli is finally able to contact his ship in orbit. This is the proof, the smoking gun, an undeniable signal from the stars that proves who he is and that his mission is real. But just when you think they're safe, disaster strikes. Estrevan tries to slip across the border one last time, and he's caught by guards. He is shot and killed. He sacrifices his own life, just moments after he guaranteed the mission he believed in would finally succeed.
And you know what? Estrevan's death is the one thing that finally breaks through the king's paranoia. He has the proof from Enga's ship, and now he has the proof of his former minister's sacrifice. And that's what does it. The king finally agrees to welcome the Ecumen. So the mission is a success, but for Genli AI, it's a completely hollow victory. He thinks back to this image from the very beginning of the book, the king setting the keystone in an arch, and he realizes that's his job now. He has to finish what his friend died for. He has to set that final stone in place, completing the bridge between their two worlds that Estrevan started building.
And that really gets to the core message of the whole book. This huge political alliance, it wasn't won in a fancy meeting room with treaties. It was built, piece by painful piece, through the trust and love between two people. Two people who had to cross a frozen wasteland just to finally see each other, truly, as one and the same.
So, let's go back to that first line. Truth is a matter of the imagination. This whole story challenges us to ask how our own worlds, our cultures, our biology, our own prejudices shape what we think is true. At the start, A's truth was all suspicion. Estrevan's was a lonely belief that no one else shared. But out there on the ice, they had to imagine a new truth together, one built on friendship. And by doing that, they didn't just change their own truth, they changed the truth for their entire planet.